Hello, my name is Bruce Miller, and I'm with Rimche Consulting, and I'm here to talk briefly about our training course, How to Build a Modern Software-Ready Retention Schedule. So this is a one-day virtual course, and it's what we call a foundation course, which means you're starting from scratch and having only one day to learn this stuff. So what we'll do is we'll divide the day into two halves. I'll talk about that more in a minute. So why do you need to build such a retention schedule? Well, here's why. It's because a classic, typical, ordinary, even modern retention schedule is not suitable for use in a modern EDRMS. Why not? Three reasons. Number one is because you need to structure it so that the case records are properly dealt with for the software to handle it. Case records are event-driven records, and they have to be structured in a certain way for the software to digest them. Reason number two is the retention schedule must be machine readable. You have to load this retention schedule into whatever software product you're using. And by the way, this training course is vendor neutral. It doesn't matter which of the 5 records software products you're using for managing records in SharePoint. There are 5 on the market. We don't care which one it is. Everything you learn in this course will be applicable, okay? In fact, if you have questions or concerns about any of the 5 products, we can deal with that in the course. So back to the reasons. So no matter what the software is, it has to be machine readable, okay? Not human readable. The third is that it has to be actionable. Every retention rule inside your retention schedule has to be machine actionable or software actionable. Why? Because users will never see, read, or interact with the retention schedule. And why is that, you ask? Because the last thing we want is to involve users in record-keeping processes. If you think that's going to work, you're wrong, and we can show you why. You'll learn about that in this course as well, which is why that will fail every time. Always has failed, always will fail. It has to be fully automated. So in order to automate it, the retention schedule has to be machine actionable. And that means you're going to have to take your existing one and restructure it. You're not throwing away the rules are being preserved. But how you structure it is a pretty radical change. That's what this course is about, how to just restructure your retention schedule, okay? So in the morning, we'll talk about the record-keeping fundamentals. The success measures, and how to prove compliance by numbers. How do you really prove that your system is doing what it's supposed to do? Well, we'll show you how. We'll deal with case records and the 2 lethal threats to a modern EDRMS project. Either one of these 2 mistakes, if you make it, I guarantee you will bring your project down and quite possibly you with it. We don't want that, so we'll show you how to avoid that. We'll deal with how to collect and manage email, and that's important because email, compared to non-email, represents 4/5 of all modern records. Think about that for a minute. We'll deal with the roles of the various project players, and we'll show you how to automate, okay, in a generic fashion, because each of the 5 software products automates in a slightly different way, but there's a lot in common between them all. In the latter half of the course, we're going to get into the specifics of exactly how to deal with this retention schedule. We'll talk about how to restructure it to handle cases properly. We'll go over what we call value-based retention, which is we're not restricted any longer to one retention rule per category. We're not. We can have as many as we want now. So how do we assign multiple retention rules? Well, it depends on the value of the record. We'll show you how to do that. We'll talk about metadata and how important that is in order to pull this off. We'll talk about how to automate the retention rules, and we'll talk about the modes. What are the modes? Well, that's new to EDRMS. A mode means a behavior of a library in SharePoint. It's either a common mode, a shared mode, or a local mode. We'll talk about those 3 modes and how to deploy it in SharePoint. We'll talk about the SharePoint information architecture, as well as some of the privacy protection that you have to build into the retention schedule. So quite a bit to cover there. There's no really complicated thing going on here. but it is a bit exhaustive. It's a bit comprehensive. There's a lot of ground to cover, but all good stuff. Okay. So that's it. And if you'd like to know more, there are 3 links in the description below. One for a document which details this course, one for the schedule of all our training courses, and the third allows you to register for this particular course. Thank you.